Hi friends, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite unsolved murder case. I was 8 years old when JonBenet Ramsey was murdered, and I remember going to the grocery store and seeing all of the magazines that had her photo on it. People, the Globe, the National Enquirer, the Sun magazine, and I was enthralled. Basically, that solidified my love for true crime, and here it is 22 years later, and I'm still so engulfed in this story. I do realize that a lot of people have actually talked about this case on their YouTube channels, but I just wanted to go into it. I'm not going to go that in depth. I'm going to leave some links down in the description box of my favorite YouTubers who have gone more in depth into this story. If I left anything out, please don't come for me. This is my first time. So we're just gonna get right into it. JonBenet Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia to JonBenet Ramsey and Patricia Ramsey. She was a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen who was murdered in her Boulder, Colorado home on either December 25th late at night or early December 26th. At the time of her death, she lived with her parents and her 9-year-old brother, Burke Ramsey. So let's talk about the timeline, and then I'm just gonna get into like a few theories. On December 23rd, the Ramseys held a holiday party in their home, and there was about 30 people in attendance. This includes journalist Bill McReynolds, who played Santa Claus that night. This will come into importance later, so just keep that in mind. December 25th, Christmas Day, typical Christmas for the Ramseys. They got up, they ate breakfast, they opened their gifts in their pajamas. The last photos taken of JonBenet were taken that morning. Around 5 or 5:30, the Ramseys went to their friend and neighbors, Fleet and Priscilla White, for a Christmas dinner. According to John and Patsy, they left the Whites' home about 8:30 to deliver some Christmas gift baskets to their other friends and neighbors, and they arrived home around 10 p.m. When they arrived home around 10 p.m., JonBenet was asleep in the back seat. So John carried her to her bedroom, and Patsy changed her into her pajamas and put her hair up in 2 pigtails. The rest of the family followed suit and went to bed as well because they had to be up early for a flight to Michigan. That was where they had their second home. So they had a home in Boulder and a home in Michigan. Around 2 a.m. on December 26th, the neighbor heard a scream coming from the Ramsey home, but this was not reported until later. Police were not called. 5:30 a.m. December 26th, Patsy woke up to put on the same clothes as she had on the day before. Now, there's some speculation as to why she did this. Personally, I just think that if they were there, like right in the room, she would just grab them, easy access. She was going downstairs to make coffee. Now, the Ramsey home was 4 floors, and John and Patsy's room was at the top. What's at the top floor? The 4th floor. So they had multiple staircases, and she was going down the back spiral staircase into the kitchen to make some coffee. On her way down the spiral staircase, this is where Patsy Ramsey found the 3-page ransom letter. Upon reading and checking to see if JonBenet was in her room, she called 911. 5:52 a.m. the 911 call was made, and I will put that in right here so you can take a listen to that.
911 emergency. Police. What's going on? 515th Street. What's going on there, ma'am?
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There, there's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left and your daughter is gone? How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's gone. 6 years old.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's
Does it say who took her?
What?
Does it say who took her?
I don't know. There's a ransom note here.
It's a ransom note?
It says SBTC. Victory. Please.
Okay, what's your name? Are you
Patsy Ramsey, I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please.
Okay, I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been
No,
gone?
I don't. Please, we just got out. Is she right here? Oh my God, please.
Okay, well,
There's somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath,
Please,
okay?
hurry, hurry, hurry.
Patsy, 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 Patsy.
Now, directly after the 911 call, Patsy called the Whites and other family friends who came over immediately. Around 6 a.m., the first police officers arrived. Officer Rick French conducted a cursory search of the Ramsey home but did not find any sign of forced entry. Burke was awoken up at this time by police officers doing the search and then was sent off to the White's house with Priscilla. John made arrangements to pay the ransom, and a forensics team was sent to the Ramsey home between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Now, before I go any further, I just want to quickly touch base on the ransom letter. I'm going to read it to you, and I'm also going to put it on the screen so you can see it. Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your bank account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I would advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory. SBTC. Okay, my thoughts on the ransom letter. This note was only addressed to John. The length of this letter is absolutely insane. Experts copied the letter and it took them 21 minutes. How long would this have taken to actually write? This letter was written with paper and pen found in Patsy Ramsey's desk, and both objects were placed back where they were found. So whomever did this wrote the note while sitting in the Ramsey house. If it took experts 21 minutes to copy, that means this person was literally just sitting there inside the Ramsey house writing this letter. There are spelling errors that look deliberate. They spelled business wrong, but managed to use the word attaché properly, and it was also spelled properly as well. The letter was signed SBTC, and no one has any actual idea as to what this could mean. And I love a good conspiracy, but I'm not diving that deep into it. The amount that was asked for was $118,000. That was a little odd because that year, John's bonus for his job was actually around $118,000. So it was really easily accessible for him to get, but who would have known that? Okay, back to the timeline. Boulder Detective Linda Arndt arrived around 8 a.m. awaiting the phone call from the kidnappers with ransom instructions, but the phone call never came. So sometime in the morning, they'd already checked the house, no signs of forced entry, couldn't find anything, and they were just kind of like sitting ducks, I guess. So around 1 p.m., Linda Arndt asked Fleet White and John Ramsey to search the house from top to bottom to see if anything seemed amiss. Ignoring what she said, John and Fleet started in the basement. While searching the basement, John led Fleet directly to the wine cellar. When John flipped on the switch to the wine cellar, he started screaming and noticed that his daughter's body was laying there, covered with a white blanket, and there was duct tape on her mouth. John took the duct tape off her mouth and carried her upstairs to the family room and placed her on the floor. Now, if you're watching this, I assume that you know about like criminal cases and how things shouldn't be tampered with. So him carrying her up the steps and laying her on the floor, even just taking the duct tape off of her, really messed up the evidence. But in this case, it wasn't a homicide investigation. It wasn't actually like a criminal investigation yet. It was just a kidnapping case. Since this was not a homicide case, before the body was found, they were just looking at the outside of the home. They were looking to find JonBenet outside of the home, not inside of the home. And then also, as a father, I'm sure that you wouldn't have that instinct like, hey, I can't mess with this. You would just want to grab her up and take her. At 1:30 p.m., Boulder policemen Ron Walker and Larry Mason arrive and search the basement and wine cellar for further clues into JonBenet's death. They finally secure the home, preventing further arrivals. So this is where it's actually taped off to be a crime scene and nobody can get in. The autopsy revealed that the official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation and cranial cerebral trauma, which means blunt force trauma. There was no evidence of conventional rape, although sexual assault could not be ruled out. Although no semen was found, there was evidence that there had been a vaginal injury, and at the time of the autopsy, it appeared the vaginal area had been wiped clean. A garrote that was made from a length of nylon cord and a broken handle of a paintbrush was tied around JonBenet's neck and had apparently been used to strangle her. Now, the paintbrush was actually Patsy Ramsey's. They found that out, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. So let's get into some theories. When the autopsy was conducted, it was stated that JonBenet's stomach contents contained vegetable or fruit material which may represent pineapple. This means that JonBenet would have had to eat pineapple within a few hours of her death. Photographs that were taken on the day that JonBenet's body was found show a bowl of pineapple sitting in the kitchen with a spoon in it. Both John and Patsy claim they do not remember putting out a bowl of pineapple or even feeding pineapple to JonBenet that night. Police did find Burke Ramsey's fingerprints along with Patsy Ramsey's fingerprints on the bowl in the kitchen. Patsy and John have always maintained that Burke was asleep the whole time and then he was woken up by the police when they did their search. Some theorists believe that Burke hit JonBenet over the head with a flashlight, killing her, and then John and Patsy covered it up by finishing the job. That's awful, don't come for me, and then writing the ransom note to cover up for him. Okay, the Santa Claus theory. 2 nights before JonBenet was killed, Bill McReynolds, the journalist that I talked about at the beginning, was at the Ramsey house dressed as Santa Claus. He reportedly gave JonBenet a card that said, "You will receive a very special gift after Christmas." McReynolds claimed he was innocent and then died in 2002. The last theory I want to talk about is just a random intruder. This one, I'm just not sure because it's as simple as this. Someone broke into the home with the intent of kidnapping their daughter, but instead fed her pineapple, sexually assaulted her, strangled her, hit her, and then killed her. So I don't know about all of that. So those are my favorite theories. There's also a theory that she is Katy Perry. That has been debunked, but if you want to look into it, just Google it. It's hysterical. There's so much stuff on it. I'm not personally sure who I think killed JonBenet Ramsey. Let me know in the comments who you think did this, and also leave me ideas for what to do next. I'm gonna try to upload weekly, so hit like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.